Masterdoodle up and running. Here we go. Oh, well, I tried. Give me a second. And we'll see how that works. There it is. Let's put that aside for a moment. Let's get on with your astrodoodle. Thank you. Hello, Karen. Let's see how a whole bunch of folks. Holly, good evening and welcome. Casey, good evening. Actually, I think you've been here before. I'm pretty sure. Sarah over there in Benghazi, Tripoli. Greetings. Delicia, hello. Welcome back. Mr. Ross, good evening. Also, Noel. I think you've been here before. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Sarah, I already, I'm going to do something. I'm going to come to an arrangement with you. So don't worry. I'm going to get you a reading, okay? Don't worry. We'll worry about that part later. Don't worry about that, okay? And Sarah, yeah, Karen over there in New Zealand. Okay, yeah, it's starting to warm up in there in New Zealand, isn't it? Getting towards springtime, windy and rainy and warmer. And there's Happy-Go-Lucky. We know the red mark is coming. It's in the box. Yep. Mercury goes retrograde next week. Yay! Isn't that exciting, everybody? Might as well admit it now. So here we are on the 19th. We're over here right now, and that's when we had the, I think that's when we had the new moon, the Virgo new moon back there. But this is what's important. You see, we still have this massive wall of retrogrades here. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. They're all doing their journey. They're actually orbiting this way around the planet, but it looks like they're going backwards that way. And then there's Mercury looming up. So in about a week, things might start to get, well, it's probably going to start around now where there's going to be all sorts of weird glitches and misfunctions, misinformation, fake news that turns out to be real, real news that turns out to be fake, all sorts of fake people getting outed, all sorts of real people getting faked. It's going to be a mess. There you go. Let me just go over the planets with you guys. Just don't look at all the red for a minute, okay? Just focus on the basics. Actually, I have to add some more red, excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh, dear. Yeah, and this is how it goes. We still have Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus, and Neptune retrograde. That is a lot of retrograde energy. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Hey. So we did that. I mentioned that a few times over the last few weeks because these are the very big, slow-moving planets. They're way, way out in the solar system. I marked that from earlier. Here is the Sun. There's Mercury. There's Venus. There's Earth. There's the Moon. There's Mars. There's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Well, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they all appear, the planets are whizzing this way around the solar system, around the sun. But right now, all of these guys up here look as though they're going backwards. Of course, they're not, but it gives that appearance. So the way the gravitational impact here on Earth is that it forces everything and everyone regarding those energy fields to sort of reassess, reevaluate, rebuild, reconfigure, realign, repair, remodel, and all of that. Now, add into the mix, oh my gosh, it's going to be a soup. Look at this. Okay, 6 planets retrograde. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? But as you can tell, in October, things are going to open up a little bit. By the end of the month, we're only going to have Uranus and Neptune retrograde, okay? Because Pluto's coming out of, like, what was it, 5 months of retrograde? Saturn was going out of months of retrograde. Jupiter going out of months of retrograde. All going direct. So these here are going to be, you know, calendar moments for everybody on planet Earth. And over here, this is where Mercury goes direct again. So by the end of October, things are going to appear to accelerate because the retrogrades are coming out of stationary movement and starting to look like they're going forward. We're just left with Uranus and Neptune. And then the year goes on from there. But anyway, let's have a look at this. As you know, I put it in the note with the letter, we've got this full moon, and we're heading there right now. It's very close. And, you know, so what are we looking at? Sun opposite moon. It's classic with relationships. Hello, well, sun, see you. Gotcha. And, excuse me. So, every time you get a full moon, doesn't matter what sign it is or anything, every time you get a full moon, there's this sense of like culmination where things come to like fullness. And farmers, as you know, in the olden days, they used to, you know, time their clocks around the moon for planting and harvesting and all of that, because they were aware, very acutely aware, of how the moon influences the blossoming and the seeding of plants and plant that make food. So it was a very, very important time. There was a time where the real astrology calendars were all measured by the moon. And in that case, instead of having 12 pieces of pie in the pizza, there were 13 pieces of pie. Because guess what? The moon has a 28-day approximate cycle. And if you multiply that up 13 times, it fits exactly inside of a 365-day solar cycle. And in a way, I feel it's more honest to go with a lunar cycle, like a lunar calendar, because the solar calendar is kind of, let's say, contrived by human beings to fit a nice sort of geometric, you know, even 12 slices. And of course, the sun is all powerful. And so the sun eventually dominated. It started taking, you know, male dominance type of energy, where the moon is female. But either way, we look at relationship dynamics between like yourself and the world, or between the world and you. And like what has come to fruition at this point in your life, whoever you are, whatever it is. I'm going to give you my impressions in a minute, but everyone, if you don't know your chart, it's time to start to know your own chart. But in the meantime, if you don't know it, there is a place, roughly, what is it? Let's see, Sun in Virgo. Okay, I got to go back to September here. See, the Sun is at about 26 degrees. Okay, so if you look at your own chart, and you look wherever it is, it could be anywhere in your chart, but I guarantee that there is a point at which you will find the 26-degree Virgo mark. And opposite that will be the 26-degree Pisces mark. That is where the full moon axis will impact you personally. For example, if you happen to be a very obvious Aries type person, and you've got the sun on the horizon right here at 1 or 2 degrees, then you will experience your full moon right here on the 26-27 degree axis of Virgo Pisces. You know, if you're a Capricorn, it'll be like this. Where is it now? Sorry. Over here on the 3rd and 9th house. Okay. If you are a Libra, it will be over here, again on the 6th and 12th house, but reversed, and so on and so on. But anyway, that's the point of sensitivity for all of us. Even if you don't have any planets in Pisces or Virgo, the energy field is still there. Okay. Hello, Heather. I see you. Hello, Jeffrey. Hello, Robin. I see you. Hello, All Sun. Hello, Happy Go Lucky. So, Yeah. So it's happening to everybody. Let me just check in and say hello personally, so I'm not just a bunch of charts. Let's see if this still works here. Oh, I'm still there. Greetings. Good evening, folks. Thanks for dropping by. I've managed to keep this going. It's little mini readings by donation. And I've got a couple in line already. What was that? I've got Sarah is going to get one. I owe her one anyway. Let's put that over here. I'll take care of that in a second. Let me just say hello to everybody. I'm not sure I'll do too many readings tonight because my voice is pretty sore. But I'm very grateful that you're here anyway. And it's part of my social life. Well, actually it's a really important part of my life, is the channel and the friendships that we've made all across the world. And I've also noticed that some of you guys interact together outside of the channel, which I think is even more awesome. It's pretty cool. And to me it makes perfect sense because, you know, people gravitate towards certain frequencies in life. For example, there is a fellow on YouTube, his name is Mark Moss, and that's his channel, Mark Moss, and he's all about money and finance. And he does a really superb job of translating all the global financial chaos into something that actually is comprehensive, understandable, and actionable. And it makes you realize, oh my gosh, I just watched the Lumination channel. He's talking about all the planets and everything, but Mark Moss is talking about the finance, and then there's this really bizarre connection between Mark Moss information and Lumination information. A few months ago, just so that you see the connections here, I don't have a personal relationship with Mark Moss. I did send a few emails and he was very courteous and got back to me, but he's on a much bigger scale than I am. But and it's all about money, so it's big, it's professional, it's glossy. But he did one episode a while back where he was digging into the history of global finance, you know, over centuries, over the empires, you know, how empires were built, starting very early on with Egypt, and then Greece, and then Rome, and then the Ottoman Empire, and Spanish, and then the Portuguese, and then the Germanic, then the British Empire, and so on and so on. And they all kind of jockey for superiority in the world economy. And the recent big ones are one, the Empire of the United States and the Empire of Great Britain, the British Empire. That has already collapsed, but the British Empire, unlike any previous empire, left its mark across the whole of planet Earth. And today, in global economics and global law, almost all of it is based on British law. I'm not a lawyer, so don't ask me to go into too much depth. And then the United States has adapted that and taken it into a kind of another level, which makes it more accountable and workable for humans across the world on a global scale financially. Hello, Justin. Justin Chin, when do you think the crash will happen? Well, actually, Justin, we're in it. It's like a slow motion movie. So it's more like erosion. Actually, that's a good point, Justin. Let me get to that. I'm going to get to you in just a second here. I just wanted to say hi to everybody and connect and show you that there is a correlation between the wacky world of astrology and human events. So this fellow, Mark Moss, I have a great respect for this fellow, and interestingly, you know, what do they call it? The echo chamber, He echoes a lot of my own personal views when it comes to politics and economics, and so do the other, let's say, comparable channels. So I feel in tune with them. And it's very comforting. It makes me feel like I'm not insane. There are people out there who understand what I understand and who are starting to realize that we're in something very, very disturbing, very transformational. So to your point, Justin, let me go back here because you brought up a really good point. So Justin, a long time ago, well, years ago, just so that, hold on, stay there. Stay there, folks, a second. So Justin, just so that you know, I wrote this book about 6 years ago. Okay, it's called Wealth, Money, Finance. And to cut to the chase, what it's really about is global restructuring based around the date of January 2020. And of course, that was a monumental time, as many of you know, because of the Cancer Capricorn eclipses, which correlated very strongly with the eclipses that were impacting the United States on the Cancer Capricorn axis. Well, we've moved along since then, but the theme of the book still holds true today. At the very closing chapters of the book, I target a very exact time frame where we have a global explosion, like a time bomb that goes off, which triggers a global restructuring. And it went off in January 2020. And what do you think that was? Well, I'll tell you, it was the dropping of the bomb. And the bomb was not a nuclear bomb. It was much more pervasive and much more difficult to control and manage. And that was that viral bomb, that nasty bug that's gone all over the whole world. That was a bioweapon that was dropped, and it propagated its damage just like a cluster bomb. You know, the bomb originates here, the bomb was set off here, and it went all over the world in a matter of days, weeks, and months. Everywhere on planet Earth had been infected. And we're still dealing with it today, and we're going to be dealing with it for a very long time, because you can't undo what was done. The last really, really big bomb on a global scale was Hiroshima and Nagasaki over here in Japan. Those were nuclear bombs back in 1945 at the end of World War II. And they were very destructive. Those bombs destroyed complete cities in one pop, like that. But we've come a long way since then. We now have biological weapons that can just screw up the whole of planet Earth and every human being. So that's what's happening right now. And that bomb was dropped in very close alignment with extremely harsh Pluto aspects, with Pluto and Capricorn and the opposing energies of Cancer over here, the Cancer moon and the sun in Capricorn. Okay, so yes, Justin, you understand that. It's true. The World Economic Forum, I'm not supposed to even say those words, WEF, because they'll shut down my channel. I have to be careful. But yeah, because of what is happening on a global scale financially and politically, it's all based around the time frame of Pluto. The movement of Pluto and the harsh aspects that get triggered as the other planets move around in their world. Now the thing about Pluto is that it moves very slowly compared to the moon or the sun or Venus or whatever. And so the bomb that was dropped in January 2020, we actually felt it like the first wave of the shock. We actually felt it at early March 2020. For me specifically, March 3rd. I remember very clearly landing at LAX airport and getting off the plane with the announcement that the airport was completely shut down as of 6 a.m. that morning because of a viral bomb. Okay? So, and it just spread all over Earth. So, look at this, Justin. When the bomb went off, Pluto was approximately here. Can you see the difference between this and this and this? The bomb went off here. Here we are a year and a half later, year and 3/4 later. Pluto moved over to here, and then it retrograded back to here. So that is the time frame that we're thinking of right now. Right now, in the last year and a half, when the bomb went off. Now, to extend this and extrapolate this into the global financial arena, you have to understand that this is going to take years for this to play out. What's happening is eventually by mid-2023, Pluto will be right here on the cusp of switching into Aquarius. It's going to get really crazy towards the in early mid-2022 when we get the exact conjunction of Pluto and Capricorn 27 degrees with the birth chart of the United States. Let me show you. I'm answering Justin, but this applies to everybody. Okay, this is the United States. The United States is pivotal, fundamental, at the core of what is going to happen across planet Earth. United States is born with Pluto and Capricorn here, 27 degrees. We already touched on it a few months ago. We're going to be touching on it again, and then we're going to cross over into Pluto and Aquarius, and then it's going to go absolutely berserk. Okay? Financially berserk. So what is happening, Justin, is that we are seeing the collapse and the implosion in slow motion of the global financial system as it operates and pivots and focuses through here, through the United States Federal Reserve banking system and the United States federal government. In other words, it's as if the bomb was dropped here, but the fact is the sickness is all across planet Earth, okay? And as the United States implodes, it's going to implode financially. And as it implodes financially, a new version of a new world economy is going to be exposed. And it's going to be very different. I would be very happy to do some private shows on that or something, but it's difficult because my channel keeps getting knocked around because of those subject matters. But anyway, what's happening is, on a global scale, humanity is starting to realize that we've been spoofed. Because planet Earth is operated on a system of fake money. Okay? And there's a growing demand for real money, where we, the people, are the cure, where we have sovereignty of ourselves and our wealth and our finance, our money. It becomes our money. It isn't someone else's currency. So, Justin, just like Jeffrey says, the financial system is crumbling at its core. The American banking system is crumbling. And they are doing everything they can to maintain it and rebuild it in such a way that it isn't really a proper banking system anymore. It's actually a surveillance mechanism and a control mechanism for the people who own and operate the banking systems. Okay? So, what are you going to do about that? Because it's very, very destructive for humanity. I have already made plans, and I've done some very complex arrangements with my own money, because I have to be very careful, because I have to live. I have to keep going. And in a couple of years, I feel that I'll be confident enough to be able to share some of my newfound knowledge with others. Justin, again, so that you don't feel you're left out, there are other people who understand astrology regarding to finance, okay? This is way too complex for me. It's all based on charting. And the same over here. This author here. Cosmic Clock, Timing the Financial Markets, okay? So that's interesting, but I work on a much larger scale. I work on the scale of the collective. I don't bother with trading, 1-minute charts, 5-minute charts, day players, and everything like that. Yeah. Oh, I see, Justin, you're already on top of it. Well done. Got it. So anyway, we'll probably have to do a show about that to help people figure these things out. But anyway, yeah. So let's get back to the eclipse itself. Thank you, Justin. Oh, hold on. Let me just put up some post-it notes because we got a couple of bookings here. Karen Clark has made a donation. So you are going to get a mini reading. All right, I'm going to go check the Tarot Lumination website to see if anything came in. Let's have a look. We're going to do a reading for Sarah Al-Shaikhi, okay? And I'll sort it out with her later, okay? Thank you, Sarah. I'll be right back. Just let me check here. Give me a second, folks. Chat amongst yourselves. I'm just going to go check my source for my... let's have a look. And that is... oh, that's Karen. Okay. And then, oh, look, we have one. Oh, okay. I see something from Mr. Ross. Thank you so much. Let's go over there. I'm going to get back to you guys now. Mr. Gregory Ross. There we go. Justin, you obviously know a lot more than many people. Same with Jeffrey. It's interesting we've got these financial guys here tonight. It sounds like Justin is into finance. We know Jeffrey's into finance. Jeffrey's a young entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, relocating, restructuring his life because he understands that huge global irreversible changes are happening in the global financial system. So we have to get ahead of this, otherwise we'll be sucked down a whirlpool. Yeah, it's Jeffrey. It is shocking. It's absolutely shameful what's happening in this country right now. We're being, let's say, to me, it's. I got to be very careful about what I talk about or don't talk about on this channel. You know what? We should probably have a private event because I'd love to share some of the stuff I know. Okay. So here we go. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so right now we've got a booking for Karen, Sarah, and Gregory. Thank you very much. Let's have a look. So, right over here, I was talking with Love Triber the other day. Some of you will remember over the last few weeks, Mars was in Virgo, okay, for weeks. And it conjoined with the Sun, and Mercury was in Virgo too. And funnily enough, it's no surprise that things started to get very violent in terms of protesting against all the lies and the fraud and the evil and the corruption. Sadly, the shadow side of Piscean energy over here, Neptune is in Pisces. It's very, very strong here, but it's being heavily challenged. And so we're seeing a lot of the shadow aspect of Neptune as opposed to the wonders and the beauty of Neptune. And that's the difficulty with Neptune. It's some of the, to me, in some ways, it's harder to deal with Neptune than it is with Pluto. With Pluto, you kind of know where you stand. It's just there's absolutely no mercy. It's It's just like the reality checkers. But anyway, people all over the world, it's not getting reported on mainstream American news, but all over the world, especially Western Europe and larger cities, started to have violent protests against the fakery, the fraud, the lies, the deception, all centered around this evil disease and how humanity is being manipulated and undermined. And people are starting to say enough is enough is enough. And the problem is that there is also a huge amount of the world population that believes in the lies. They believe the fraud because it is being presented to them as though what is fake is real. And that's where the deeper tragedy lies. So it's very difficult to help anybody who believes in the lie. They have a habit of justifying themselves and their behavior and their decisions. A lot of people are in very difficult positions, and so they are aware of the fraud and the lies, but they have to comply with all the so-called mandates. Okay? In order to survive, in order to have food and pay rent and so on. So it's the evil goes far, far beyond the physical sickness of the human body. The evil is now injected into humanity all over planet Earth. And it's all part of a plan. It's all planned out. Please don't fool yourselves into thinking that, it's just nature out of control. No, this is fabricated. This is very advanced bioweaponry, and it is being deployed across planet Earth by an extremely, let's say, evil group of people. Some of us are saying enough is enough. We're trying to figure out how to protect our money, our privacy, ourselves, our rights to property, our rights to our sovereign selves, our right to lawful search and seizure, our right to remain silent, our right to bear arms, our right to protect ourselves and our loved ones, and our right to happiness. Okay? That's the problem. The American Constitution is a big problem for the people who dropped this bomb. So anyway, this axis here is very, very uncomfortable. Personally, for myself, I feel that this axis is something that, it's inevitable that at some point the fraud would be exposed. Question is, what do we do about it? It's one thing to protest and march and throw little hand grenades and tasers and smoke bombs and things like that. But to actually shut down the evil, I'm not going to waste my energy trying to do that. I don't have the capacity to do that. The only way I can do things, and I'm suggesting you do things, is to protect yourself. And I'd love to be able to help others to do that in some way. Yeah. So, Justin, I have so many other stories I could tell you about Evergrande and China and the economy, but it's a very... my channel has been so decimated that I really shouldn't even be talking about what I'm talking about right now. Justin, if you want a personal reading, thank you for asking. Let me just go over here. I can help you out. Go over here. This is what the TarotLumination.com website looks like, and at the top you can see different main pages. This is the donate page that you're seeing, but if you go to the page for readings, you can book a reading that way. If you want to connect with me directly, there's a connect page. Okay, and we can go from there. You can do the payments with PayPal. It's very easy, straightforward, and then we do the meetings on my personal Zoom. So Justin, I'm totally up for it. I like to help people with this subject matter. It's much easier to do it in private than on this public channel. So, get in touch. Go to terralumination.com. Have a look around the website. You can book a reading directly from there. It will come to me. I'll check the emails. And what we'll do, we'll schedule a time and day, depending on your time zones. And we'll use the Terralumination Zoom room, okay? And that's just you and me in private. And it's a total lockout. We can do whatever we want, say whatever we want, okay? So, yeah, this channel got destroyed years ago. It's still twitching. It's still alive, like a little twitching, piece of roadkill. Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you for asking, Justin. So, yeah. This full moon, for me personally, it's about, to me it feels like it's an affirmation, like I am not insane. I knew and I know that all this bad stuff is happening, and I can't even have enough words to describe the degree and the scale of evil. But at least I'm aware, and I am taking very, very practical Virgo steps to do something about it. I am personally aligning myself in such a way that I can see hope for myself. And as much as painful as it is to watch the United States crumble, it's not dead yet, okay? But we are going through profound changes. What's happening is, on a global scale, we've never had the chance to do this before. We can't do it with human beings because human beings only last about 70, 80, 100 years or so. But the United States and lots of other countries last for centuries, And in the United States, if you look at the astrology of the United States, and we take the date of 4th of July, 1776, you can see the chart. I'll show you again. Sorry. United States birth chart, 1776. This is a primitive astrodoodle, but this is the point that I'm talking about here. Capricorn, 27 degrees. South node in Aquarius. North node in Leo. There are so many correlations between this and what is happening today, right now, 250 years later, because of one complete Pluto cycle. We know, like the Jupiter cycle. Here's the Jupiter cycle. It's about 12 years. We know the Saturn cycle. That's about 29 and a half years. Okay? And so on. But what's happening on planet Earth today is we are witnessing live in real time the Pluto return of the United States, which is going to have ripple effects all across planet Earth. Okay? So, also, when you look at the chart this way for planet Earth, we're talking about the 6th and 12th house axis. And what I see here is disease, illness, and every other tragic, hideous word you can think of that's negative. And it's happening in the house of hidden enemies, disease, sickness, viruses, fungi, bacteria, decomposition, addiction, squalor, insanity, all of that over here. And it's all packaged up like a beautiful glossy illusion, like a Hollywood movie. Like they're doing everything that's happening in Washington and the big techs and big pharma. It's all scripted like a Hollywood movie by the people who own and operate all that stuff. And the rest of the world, we're just expendables, okay? And all they're trying to do is figure out how to maintain and grow their empire and to harvest us on the debt farm. Okay? And over here, this is the axis. The sun in Virgo is basically like the cleanup crew. Okay, everybody. Especially when it had Mars in Virgo over here, the cleanup crew is basically saying enough is enough. This is like this, well, it was, but in some ways it still is. It's like a massive flashlight. Okay? This is what we're dealing with, okay? If you think of the sun like a flashlight, it's shining directly onto the Neptune energy. And it's like, it's the same kind of energy field like when you kick the side of a rotten old wall in a rotten old house and a million cockroaches come pouring out and all the black mold is exposed and the rot and the mildew and the whole wall collapses because it's a charade. Happy-go-lucky, you just said something there. I just want to go back to something I mentioned earlier. Thank you, Happy-go-lucky. And Justin, you might be interested in this too. The fellow that I was talking about, remember that name? Mark Moss. Really good fellow. Good, solid man. He loves and cares for his family, and his main concern is parallel to mine. I don't want to just exist. I want to thrive. There is so much chaos and combustion and implosion and restructuring happening that a lot of people are going to get ruined. That's not going to be me, okay? And none of you if I can help you in any way. But the point is, I knew I could trust Mark. On one of his shows, he describes some of the historical cycles that occur in human history regarding empires and money and finance, because they're all connected. All the major empires collapsed and failed because of printing excess currency, fake money, in order to try and maintain and control their power over the people. And eventually it collapses. It all implodes 100% of the time. Okay? That is he called it a 48 year cycle. Okay? He brought all these beautiful charts about global history and so on and so on. Next, he talked about radical innovation and unpredictable shock waves that seemed to run alongside this bigger history. And this cycle he identified as an 84-year cycle. The next one he described was 28 years, 28-year cycle. And he showed all the delineations on his charts. It was amazing to see. And I had a chat with Love Triber. And I said, Love Triber, do you understand what he's talking about here? He's talking about Pluto, Uranus, and the Moon. Pluto, a 248-year cycle. Uranus, an 84-year cycle. The Moon, a 28-day cycle, but you could extrapolate that to 28 years. And lo and behold, his correlations match my own correlations. So it's like from a tarot reader and astrologer to a high-powered business person, financial leader. There are parallels, okay? I'm not insane. I'm trying to help people. Yeah. So that made me very confident that I am not insane. And I've been doing huge amounts of homework, just literally just studying as many hours as I can a day to study the new paradigm that's going to unfold. I mean, I can help people right now, but I can't do it through this channel. I can do it through TerraLumination.com. I can do private readings, but I can't help otherwise. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. So, what's happening today is that everybody on planet Earth, everybody, Everybody on planet Earth is now acutely aware that they have been infected and their lives have been upended and distorted by this nasty little bug. And there's no going back. It is literally a bioweapon, a bomb that was dropped on humanity by certain groups of people who gain extreme advantage from this. Okay? I'm not going down. They're not going to take me down, I guarantee. But anyway, this was a marker that it's now very evident all across planet Earth that this is fake. It's all a big, ugly, deliberate weaponization of a bug in order to manipulate and exploit humanity to the advantage of a few people. Okay, enough is enough. Mars has now moved on into Libra, so things have calmed down a little bit. But eventually, Mars in Libra, if you want to look at it that way, conflict in relationships. I don't see anything dying down or going away in terms of the conflict. But now that the veil is starting to be open and lifted, it's going to be an increasing challenge for the perpetrators to perpetrate their nasty little agenda. So, actually, let's put this aside. I don't really need this. All right. Where was I? Just give me a second. I'm going to get ready. We're going to start doing the readings in a second. Hi. Thank you for listening to my rant. It wasn't really planned. It was a little bit spontaneous. But the fact is the full moon is here. So what does it look like for you? Okay? If you want to get into it really personally, I'll do personal readings. Some of you know that already. And we can identify like the value. We can extract the value from the full moon experience. And we can extrapolate from there. It's fun too. It's very illuminating. Yeah, okay? Yeah. I get knocked down, I get up again. You're never gonna take me down. I get knocked down, but I be up. Anyway, thank you, Happy Go Lucky. Yeah, there was a pop song that I love from many years ago. It's by a band called Chumbawamba, and the chorus line is, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. No, no, no. All right. Yeah, we're like a little secret society. Ooh, ooh, ooh. People love to belong to secret societies. I don't know much about this. It's just some sort of scandal that kind of went into one ear, and I've heard bits about it, about this LuLaRay something, this big multi-level market pyramid scheme run by this fellow and this lady, all about women's fashion or something. And they're starting to realize, the people who joined up are starting to realize that they got sucked into a cult, and which is basically another version of fraud, and they got taken advantage of. But people love that. People want to believe that there's something bigger and better and more magnificent than their existing reality. And so when somebody comes along with a beautiful presentation and it sounds bulletproof, and it's just like, oh, I have to do this. I have been scammed big time. And I've lost a lot of money from scams like that. Because I'm dumb and I want I want the best life that I can have. Anyway. Yes, Robin, we are spiritual storm troopers. Say that quickly. See where that gets you. All right, what have I missed out? Okay, let's go over here. Karen, over there in New Zealand. It's probably, early afternoon for you. Karen. By the way, in case people don't know, Karen is very artistic, an entrepreneur, a businesswoman in I can't remember the name of the town, but she's very involved in the local arts community there and the culture of Maori fabric and basket weaving and so on over there in New Zealand. Happy-go-lucky. Be careful, TL. You sell leggings. Oh my God, you're right. I forgot about that. There's the whole... Oh my God. Sorry, give me a second, Karen. Yeah, you're right, happy-go-lucky. I followed what seemed to be a good idea. In the early days of my channel, I was viciously attacked over and over again, but I kept coming back. And I thought, wow, we've reached a certain point of stability. We've got a ton of subscribers, and we're on a roll. I do like 45 hours of, videos per month, 24 plus 30, like 30, 40 videos per month, private readings, private meetings. I was making these, I've got Terralumination jewelry, Terralumination leggings, Terralumination art, wall art, all sorts of things if anyone's interested. We can do that another time. But it's true, I've made leggings for people. Crazy, crazy, wild astrology leggings. And interestingly enough, I just had an email from one of the lovely ladies who now owns a pair of the Terralumination leggings. And she did like a supermodel video. It was fantastic, but that was a couple of years ago, I think. But anyway, thanks for reminding me, happy-go-lucky. So in a way, maybe I was caught up in my own energy thinking, I'm going to run a cult. I'm going to do that. You have to buy my t-shirts. You have to wear my leggings. You have to buy my Terralumination tunes. You have to sing the songs. And it's all gone. It's all gone. Oh, Abby! Abby, yeah, and the silk scarves. The silk scarves are absolutely beautiful. You know what? Let me see if I can find one. Stay right there. Thank you, Abby. Okay, I've got a copy here. I only made a very small number of them. They're pretty rare. They're very expensive. Let's see if this shows up on the camera. Now, this is going to look crazy on the camera. No, it won't work. I can't show it. Oh, wait a minute. I can show it over here. Let's go to the stage. Now I'm just being silly. Now I'm just being silly and showing off. All right. Here is a close-up of the Terralumination satin silk scarf. I can't show you the whole thing, but yeah, I made a bunch of these and I sold a few. Thank you, Abby. Yeah. Yo, go Abby. So let's have a look. Leo, where's Leo? There's Leo, look. Hi, Abby. That's Leo. We did a video. Oh gosh, you're right. I should dig that up. Let's get this cult going, people. Come on. I wonder if there's YouTube videos. I wonder if there's YouTube videos by like retired or exposed cult leaders like Bikram Yoga. He got arrested for some really bad stuff. Hello. Good afternoon, good evening. Our first class for the day is how to start your own cult. First of all, you have to turn yourself into a charismatic leader. Then you have to learn how to manipulate people into doing exactly what you want them to do. The next thing you have to do is tell them to give you all their money. And then when you have all their money, you put on a disguise and you run away. That's it. That's the business plan. I should run that video, shouldn't I? Woohoo! Thanks, Abby, for joining us. Alright, okay. Let's get serious here. This is a really serious channel. We do really important stuff. It's thirsty work, too. Alright, Karen. So, Karen, is there anything you would like to share with the public today, right now, or should we just get on with it? We've done readings together before, but I don't keep records. I don't store anything in my head except like the feelings. I don't keep files or records. Every couple of weeks, I destroy all the files that I have for clients. So it keeps everything light and fresh. We always have to start from scratch. It's wonderful. And it's the same. So Karen, we're going to do a reading now. If you have something like, hey, Tarot Illumination, what messages do you have for me tonight regarding the subject of ... You know, I don't know, finance, health, location. Oh, look, Gregory has the Tarot Illumination clock. Wow. And Abby's got the link for the video. Huh. I completely forgot about that stuff. I've been so wrapped up in self-pity and survival that I forget these things. Yes. Actually, happy-go-lucky, what you're talking about is part of the mind control section for the new How to Grow Your Own Cult channel. Wouldn't that be fun? Like a spoof channel? Karen Clark, finances. You got it. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's get shuffling. Cards are well shuffled in advance, but we're going to go to the last second so that you're a witness. Let's bless this whole deck, everything. Bless the studio, all the electronics, the wires, the cables, the electricity, the lights, the software, the technology, the people who write the codes, the people who run the platforms, all the different broadcasting softwares and stuff that I have to use to do the show at all. Cameras, microphones, all of it. It's all magic. Thank you. Yeah, the leggings are pretty awesome. They are absolutely... Actually, Karen, if you want to, let me see if I can... It's very hard for me to do this from here, but... Karen, I haven't checked up on this in a long time, but if you go to tarotlumination.com and you look at the headings at the top, I think there's one further to the right. It says More. If you click More, you can see a drop-down menu, and it pops up with, you can see this like it's a drop-down menu, you know, online, and you'll see something about the Zazzle store or leggings or art or books or something like that. You can go in there. It'll take you to the Terra Lumination merchandise, which includes leggings, clocks, jewelry, and other fine items. Thank you very much for asking. What was that, Sarah? Hello, you all. I've got you up on the big screen tonight. Whoa! Big time! Thank you, Sarah. Nice. Yeah. All right. I'm not trying to avoid the reading. I'm just a little bit all over the place today. That's all. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I've had a few people tell me how they watch this show on the big screen. I think that's hilarious. I'm kind of proud of that. All right, Karen, we're up. Let's see what's going on here. Woo, yeah. All right. I'm going to keep it simple. Silly. That's the KISS rule. I'm going to use, like I always use, the same old spread. It's the Terra Lumination situational spread. It's a really, really handy diagnostic tool for life. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And we're going to look at the influencing conditions. Environmental pressure, or you could say, like I do, the planets. Because the planets are there all the time. You can trust them completely. That's the beauty of the astrology. That's one of the reasons I love doing this. It's because this stuff is perfect. This is sacred geometry in motion. It's always perfect all the time. Everything everything bad that happens, it's perfect. Everything that's good that happens, that's perfect too. The universe, you know, the planet, the solar system, humanity, it's always in a state of creative destruction. Creative destruction. It's very evident in the chart for the United States because the sun is opposing Pluto. Pluto is like a nuclear bomb, huge bulldozer, the great destroyer, and the sun is the great creator. And they're working like that in the United States. They are constantly churning against each other. But that's kind of one of the characteristics of the United States. You know, we had Blockbuster, and then Netflix killed Blockbuster. We had horses and buggies, and then Ford killed horses and buggies, and now we have cars and roads, gasoline, things like that. Out with the old, in with the new. So what we have here, Karen, 10 of Cups. What this is telling me is that regarding finances, the importance is that how do the finances translate into harmony in a way that works for everyone in the family dynamic. Basically, I see this as you being the center of a vortex where money is just a form of energy. Let me see if I can illustrate what I'm trying to do here. Another one of my wacko charts. Give me a second. Sorry, Karen. Hey, hi, Necessary Truths. So, with this 10 of Cups, Karen, you know, it looks like it's nothing to do with money. But, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of people have figured out that money is pivotal to what we describe as happiness, okay? So, at the center of many people's lives across the world, America, Bangladesh, India, China, This stuff is very pivotal to everything that happens in the family dynamic. And money is just a tool, you know? Money itself has no value. Money is what we believe it to be. And so when you've got the money equation in alignment with you, and you are in alignment with the energy field of money, then you're not sitting at home all day, trying to calculate how can I get rich. You're more in tune with focusing on being you, being your most awesome self, and allowing the abundance to come to you, so that you are at the hub of an energy field. It's kind of like a bicycle wheel, okay? This is how I look at it. Anyway, in your situation, Karen. So, to me, the way I see it, it's like, in your brain, in your head, you might be concerned about finances, but it's about getting oneself in alignment with oneself, so that your natural state of abundance could grow, okay? And we describe that as money, but it's really about being very deeply in tune with nature, and how that translates into what we call money. And so it's like an energy field, and money is like a consequence of good energy management. In a condition of good energy management, your heart center would be concerned with being loving, so that you can be loved, because it's the most powerful force there is. There is an opposing force, and it's spelled EVIL, but EVIL is actually just the absence of LOVE, okay? So look at that. Happy-go-lucky has already added a very powerful ingredient. You've got to believe it to see it. You have to believe it to see it. So it's having faith in oneself. Some people feel crushed and lost, and they can't generate that happiness from within. It's understandable. But what I'm sensing here is that it's like a positive feedback loop. When you are in harmony with yourself, Karen, then you are in harmony with your environment, with the universe. And you are radiating energy that is full of love. Okay? And this might sound absurd, but due to the laws of attraction, what happens is that you attract that back. You are loving, you are loved. Does that make sense? I'm trying to describe this in terms of physics, and how the physics translates into money. It sounds very strange. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but what happens is, when human beings are truly in alignment in a way that is healthy with the universe, you put that energy out and you attract it back, multiplied. Okay? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like the laws of attraction in action. So be loving and be loved, and it tends to multiply. I've seen that in people. Like that fellow, Mark Moss, that I was talking about earlier, Karen. He is an independent entrepreneur. He's very successful, very wealthy. And he does it because he comes from a position of love in his heart. He's not trying to control anybody, or manipulate anybody, or own anybody, or take anything from anybody. All his energy is outward. It's a loving kind of abundance. And what it does, it helps other people to learn how to manage their own energy so that they could become more and more effective in how to be loving. Now, for this fellow Mark Moss, being loving means helping other people to understand how money works. And when they understand it, they are very grateful, and they reward him greatly with, guess what? Money. And then that feeds this thing, and it makes him more capable and more powerful in being able to help others. And so it grows and expands. It's the same thing for you, Karen. Really, all we're doing is understanding what money is at the level of the soul. And so, like it is for many people, having some form of financial stability or some form of like income or guaranteed income or a legacy or something that translates into three-dimensional stuff that we call money, it makes us feel happy. It's very, very satisfying to realize that the stuff that you have in your pocket, in your wallet, in your bank account, on your debit cards, it's a form of energy that you have attracted to yourself. And then the really lucky ones like Mark Moss, they attract so much money to themselves that they have way more than they need, so they share it back outwards. And that creates more loving energy back in, and it expands on himself. And if I look at Mark Moss now compared to a year or two ago, he has grown very, very significantly because he is loving from the core, and he loves to help other people. So my feeling is, Karen, that you're already like this, but you just needed someone like Terra Lumination to describe it in such a way that, hopefully it makes sense. Like, it's very, very satisfying to come home at the end of a day of activity or whatever and know that you've got some money in your pocket. It's a horrible, most families and businesses can't go for very long without having more money coming in than they spend. The problem with global economics today is that everything is based on debt. And a lot of people are operating like debt cows on a debt farm where they are putting out more energy than is coming in. And that just leads to pain and tragedy and suffering. Hello, Ivona. Ripple. Let's see. Okay, so Karen, this is what it's really about. It's loving and being loved. What's the situation itself? More cups energy, okay? King of Cups. So, once you understand what we're talking about here, and I'm sure you do, it indicates that, so I'm looking at this from several different levels. First level is, number one, you are already operating at a high degree of mastery in terms of what I would call energy management when it comes to love. The energy of love. I'm not talking about romance or getting laid or making babies or, stuff like that. I'm talking about love in the way that it expresses itself. Like, let's say you have a crippled child and you love the child anyway. Or let's say you have inherited a big problem from somebody else and it feels like it's not your problem, but you understand deep at your core that it is, so you accept it and you are loving anyway. And then you meet and you encounter all sorts of different people in your day-to-day life, and they frustrate you, they annoy you, they undermine you, but you're loving anyway. It takes great power and great skill and a lot of experience to be loving anyway. Okay? But I believe that you already have that. Hello, Ivona. You already have that, so you are loving, you are loved. You're already in tune with that. But the thing is that, how do you keep it going in the face of adversity when there's huge amounts of turbulence out there that threatens to undermine the sweetness and the comfort that you deserve, okay? Because it's like you don't want to spend your whole life just grinding away at something to scrape enough dollars to come in so that you can just get through to the next day. We have to look at things at a whole new level. You already know that. You're already striving, and you do the work. You have the skills, you have the consciousness, you have the abilities, all of that. But it feels to me like what's happening here with the King of Cups is that you are being tested. You know? Tested at the highest levels. And how does that look in terms of your finances? Well, in this reading, it's all coming about to the energy of love. How to be loving and be loved. Like, from what I can tell from here, because I remember little snippets from when we've worked together before, Karen, that you love your community, you love your craft, you love your business, you love what you do, and in your heart you would like to optimize that in a way that is best for you, your family, your loved ones, your environment, and for society. So you can't be faulted in that regard. Okay, so what's the problem here? Okay, to me it feels like one of the real problems is having a relationship structure that you can trust, where again the energy of loving and being loved is fundamental to the equation. Alright, for example, like in a really toxic relationship, and there's plenty of them. There's plenty of toxic relationships between one person and another, like man or woman, or if you're gay, guy to guy, or lesbian, girl to girl, or employer to employee, or parent to child, or teacher to child, or corporation to employee, whatever it is. If there's some sort of dysfunction there, and you can smell it, whatever the smell, bad smell is, like betrayal, people get sucked up into power plays. It happens a lot in the workplace. It happens a lot in business where things happen that don't seem fair, even though you are loving and you're doing the best you can to manage your life and your world and your finances. The thing is, we live in a world where almost everything we do happens in the context of relationship and relationships. Now, some relationships are fundamental, genetic, like but your biological parents. Other relationships are chosen relationships, like life partners, or having children by choice, things like that, or having a cluster of friends, which by choice, in other words, I don't like you anymore, so you stop the relationship. Or even in business, you have business relationships. Okay? So let's just reference the full moon while we're at it. Today, don't worry about your chart, Karen, or anything, but look at the Virgo Sun and the Pisces Moon over here. It's on the relationship axis. It is an opposition. This is an opposition. Venus and Scorpio opposite Uranus and Taurus. That's a full opposition. Okay? Oppositions basically resemble the energy of relationship. You and another and you. But with this one here, the full moon, because this is very prominent right now, it indicates that your concern, I would say, is to do with finance, like you've got this reading. But the issue isn't really to do with the money itself. It's to do with what is sick. What is it that's not working in your finances? Everything that is wrong, everything that is unhealthy or toxic or corroded or dysfunctional about your finances, it's time to shine a light on that and put words around it and describe it. And then the Virgo energy, like the flashlight from earlier, the Virgo energy is now there like, oh, how are we going to fix this, people? It's not always easy to fix financial issues. But so many financial matters are contingent upon relationships, like a relationship with a spouse, a relationship with a banker, a relationship with employees, a relationship with your community, so that money flows. Remember, energy flows where attention goes. Your intentions are good, Karen. There's no question about that. But if things aren't not working out for you financially, and you're concerned about it, and you know that they could be better, then it looks to me that the issue isn't the money itself. It's about energy, what I call energy management in the field of relationships that are directly concerned with money. For example, a spouse, partner, child, whatever it is. So it's the relationship dynamics that could be at the core of the problem here. Like a business partner or something like that. Heather Mocha makes a good point. Money makes people feel safe and secure. Exactly. There's no way out of it. We all need money. Well, we call it currency, but we call it money. We all need that because none of us can pay our rent, our mortgages, our food, our utilities, our phone bills, our travel, our enjoyment. It's almost impossible to do any of that. Our little cups of coffee. Can't do anything without money. Every day, 5 days a week roughly, I go to a McDonald's just down the street and I get a little cup of coffee for 86 cents. And it is the greatest joy in my life. One of the greatest joys. But I can't do that if I don't have any of those little paper tokens in my wallet. Or those little plastic tab things. They're called credit cards, debit cards. But anyway, the situation is not the money itself. The real challenge is the relationships, the close relationships that you have in your life and how they impact money. Like a business partner, a spouse. For example, like if we were doing a private reading, Karen, what I would be doing is I would be asking kind of much deeper questions like, can you identify any characters or people in your life, in your world, with business or family or the town where there are some very uncomfortable relationships? Then we would pull those out and examine the situation and see what's going on. Like having a good relationship with your bank or your banker or your whoever issues your debit card or wherever you pay your mortgage or your rent or something like that. Let's have a look. How are we going to deal with this? Look at it's money. It's interesting, Karen. Your reading is about money, but there's not one single pentacle card here anywhere. It's all cups. It's all about the energy flow. And I call it energy management because it sounds neutral. So the way to handle this thing is with chivalry. And it might also include, I don't really want to say this, but humility. For example, if you know, Karen, deep down that there is some kind of grievance, let's say some kind of deep grudge going on between yourself and either a person or the town or a bank or an employee or a business partner or something like that. And let's say the grudge is so deep or the issue is so personal and so painful that you're really, really struggling. No matter how skillful you are, no matter how much mastery you have already accrued in terms of being loving and being loved, we are always being challenged. So in order to, and it looks to me like you're being really, really challenged deep down inside, because it isn't really about the money at all. It's about your relationship with money and your relationship with the people in your world that correspond to money. So the only way is to go forward with the same energy, committing to being loving, but it feels to me like having to be very courageous, brave, and loving going forward in a situation where you would rather, I'm not going to pull out any more cards, but where you would rather, let's say, get even with somebody or point the blame on someone or something, or the politics, or Jacinda, or the bank, or the family, the kids, the partner, the relatives, the business, the town, whatever it is. Eventually you end up going full circle. Wow. You are at the epicenter of this thing, and you're the only one who can fix it. Oh gosh. This thing here, you're at the epicenter of the whole thing. And so the solution comes from within. It's the same principles. Be loving. Anyway, it's just that it's very hard to do in a situation like this. Karen, I have something I'd like to offer you, but I can't do it here. So could you please get in touch with me by email, and I'll follow up with you, okay? Thank you very much. I hope that helped you, Karen. Hope it helped everybody else too in some strange way. We're going to move on. Sarah Al-Sheikhi, you're up. Are you still there, Sarah? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't see you. Hey, Necessary Truth. Did I say hi earlier? No, I don't think I did. Sarah, let's just check in. I'm going to shuffle up a little bit. Give me some moments here. I want to shuffle up. No, how am I going to do this? I need to shuffle. All right. Here we go. All right, Sarah, where are you? Sarah Al-Sheikhi, where are you? I'm going to be checking on the screen here. Sarah, this is Tarot Lumination. Hello. I know there's a bit of a delay. Maybe it's like 40 seconds, or maybe you've got a minute and a half or something. But if you could type into the screen, I'd love to know that you're still here. I know I went on and on talking and talking and talking, and I'm sorry if you had to go to bed or something, but you're still going to get your reading. If you are here, please could you type in and let me know. And I'm going to try and scroll back to the chat, see if I can find out if you left any notes for me, because I don't see anything here. You came in quite a while ago, didn't you? Let's have a look. Yeah, let's have a look. There you are. Okay, I see Sarah there. I'm scrolling through some of the old chats here. And it's full of doopy-doo. Then there's... Oh, so I'm still scrolling through the chats. I guess I'm missing things. I can't see anything. I can't see anything from Sarah about her reading. That's a little... Sarah, please, can you type in on the screen? Let us know you're here. Thank you. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. That's a little strange. Okay. I guess I'll do a blind reading for Sarah. I mean, I love doing blind readings, but I feel kind of caught off guard. Sarah is... Oh, let me show you over here. Let me show you. Alright. Here we are. Here's Tarot Lumination. Okay. Here's Tarot Lumination over here in sunny, warm Las Vegas. Okay. There's the rest of America. And here's the rest of the world. And Sarah is over here in Benghazi, Libya. Okay, right up there. Right on the Mediterranean Sea in Libya, North Africa. So, it's a huge time zone difference. Let's see, it would probably be like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning or something. Oh, Robin says she just wanted a quickie. Okay. Well, we can do that. I was really looking forward to do this with Sarah live, but it's probably, like I said, it's probably... I'm taking a random guess, but it's probably 4 or 5 a.m. and she probably just fell asleep, couldn't help it. Well, let's just see what happens, okay? Cards are well shuffled, but I'm going to go again to the very last second. Anyway, I'm sure that Sarah will find this on her tomorrow, which will be her Monday, and it's already Monday morning over there anyway. Did I say hello to Robin? Hi, Robin. All right. All right, let's have a look here. Okay, thank you, Robin. All right, she needs hope. I can't give that to somebody. It works by, again, laws of attraction. You have to believe it to receive it. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the sacred geometry and how that's influencing Sarah. Actually, I think a couple weeks ago, Sarah was here with her sister. And because of the way things work in Libya, the financial transactions are quite tricky. So we're going to figure out an arrangement. All right, so let's have a look. Eight of Wands. We have here the Eight of Wands. Okay, Sarah? So there's a lot of passion and energy tied up right now. It's like, to me, it feels like there's like a coiled spring. You know, like the energy of the, what do they call that? Is it the cobra? You know, you've seen those videos, snake charmers in India, and then there's this cobra snake, and they're very, very serene, very, very calm, very, very beautiful, and they gently curl themselves up, and if they feel frightened, then they attack. And when they attack to kill. They don't just try to, like, you know, like, go away, leave me alone. When they actually go like that, they're basically trying to kill you, stop you dead. But anyway, it takes a tremendous amount of energy, huge amounts of energy, to survive these conditions where we feel hopeless or where we are threatened. Our life feels fragile. Our world, our love, our relationships, everything feels frightening and fragile. And what can happen, Sarah, is that this can accumulate over long periods of time. Okay? Like, what do they call it? Chronic stress syndrome. Like, I can see I'm going to talk about like rats in cages and animals and science experiments, because I was really interested in biology when I was a kid. I studied everything I could to be a doctor. I studied biochemistry, chemistry, zoology, everything, and it didn't. I'm just not very good with academics. You know, tests and questions. Ugh. Anyway, with the energy of the Eight of Wands, okay, it's out there. To me, it feels like there's this accumulated energy that is exactly parallel and opposite the accumulated stress over probably, I would think, years. Okay? Now, the human being is not really designed to live with chronic stress. You know, stress all day, every day, the same thing over and over. Ultimately, that's the death of us. It just corrodes like rust, like starvation, like erosion, and all hope and love and inspiration and feeling of life becomes drained out, and we feel empty. And when it gets very close to the bottom, it's very frightening, because we realize that without hope, without the feeling that we can make it to the next day, without the feeling that there is something above and beyond the ugly side of life, then we give up. There are a lot of people who die without hope. I'm sorry, this sounds like a very dark reading, but even though hope is one of these non-tangible energy fields, we actually feel it here. In other words, if, let's say, I'm some kind of like, you know, wizard doctor, and I know that you are, let's say, very, very sick, and you have all the characteristics of terminal cancer or something like that, and I ignore the books, and I say, you know what? Scrap. You know what, Sarah? You're an amazing woman. You're very strong anyway. And yes, things seem awful and terrible. But where there is even the slightest will to live, there is hope. Okay? And you have that, Sarah. You wouldn't be here, you wouldn't have asked for the reading unless you had hope. Hope is the idea that there is something good that's going to happen, even when there's no evidence, there's no proof. Nothing. There's nothing there on which to prove to yourself that you're going to be okay. The only thing you have is hope. Now, for some people, hope is depleted. And some people end up in a life that is hopeless. And I'm sure you have seen that in your world, Sarah. You have probably seen people or somebody whose situation is hopeless. There's literally nothing you can do. Eventually, we all disappear anyway. But that's not you, Sarah. Instead, we've got the Eight of Wands here. So what this is telling me is that the Eight of Wands is this very powerful energy that resides inside of you that says to the world, screw this, I want to live. I want to be happy. I want to have fun. I want to do what I want to do. I want to be who I am. I want to be who I have to be. I'm here for a reason. You can't take me down. Okay? I get knocked down, but I get up again. Okay? It's the same thing for you. Sarah, seriously, I don't know what it's like in your world in Benghazi with pop music, but seriously, I do this crazy dance. When I feel that I am at the edge of hopelessness, I go to YouTube and I press the button for Chumbawamba and I listen to the song, what's it called? I think it's called I Get Knocked Down. Anyway, it's fabulous. I can't play it here, otherwise I would, but the show would stop because of copyright issues. And so, what I'm sensing here is that from the notes on the screen, Robin was saying that you need hope. Okay. Well, hope lies within. You're the boss of that stuff. And that comes down to the will to live. And I can tell from the Eight of Wands that you have a tremendous will to live. Now, here's the problem. People who have a tremendous will to live can often attract situations that will test you. Okay, well, how serious is your will to live? We're going to find out. And so you are dragged through life, through misery, pain, suffering, chaos, to the brink of hopelessness. Are you going to break? Are you going to break, Sarah? No. No, no. You get knocked down, but you get up again. Okay? That is the will to live. That is the will to live, even when it doesn't make any sense, even when it doesn't look like there's any hope. You go anyway. You choose to live anyway. All right, let's have a look. What's the situation? Okay, so with the Ace of Pentacles here, to me it feels like, this is very much to do with your physical reality, like your life, your world, your body, your money, things like maybe your job or your inheritance, or perhaps a relationship that includes money, or your future and what it looks like with money and abundance and the physical. In other words, what exactly does my future look like? And it has to include function, material physical function, like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, if I don't have money in my wallet, what am I going to do to get money in my wallet? If I don't have food around, if I don't have a healthy environment, what am I going to do about it? I have to do practical things. It's like doing the homework. With the Ace of Pentacles, you're in a situation, in some ways, like with the astrology, we could have said this is to do with the new moon, okay? But we're talking, this reading is happening on a full moon. So my feeling is the Ace of Pentacles here, it's a big wake-up call that it's time to like really shake up your, well, it's not time, I'm not telling you what to do, okay? You're in a situation where you're realizing that you have an opportunity, okay? That is what is coming to light here. What is coming to light at this full moon is that you have an opportunity to restructure, reformat your life in physical, tangible ways. In other words, you know, with a job, or money, a location, friends, family, activities. These, the pentacles, it's very, very measurable. In other words, oh, wow, like, oh, I'm Sarah El-Shaikhy. I feel hopeless. My life really, really sucks right now. On the other hand, I am determined to do something about it. But I can't help it. I feel hopeless. I need to get a reading from Tarot Lumination. And Tarot Lumination comes up with this and says the situation here is the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is a realization of like, it's not over. The show is not over, Sarah. You can look at your world around you, like the next time you wake up after this reading, like tomorrow or the day after, what I'm hoping is that you will have like a vision of how you are going to conduct your life now. Now that you realize your life is up to you. Like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to have hope. You don't have to have the will to live. You just happen to have it. And it's obvious that you want things to work out. So what better than the Ace of Pentacles here? This is a chance to basically, this is, okay, let's do this. Here's an example. Let's say this is Tarot Lumination trying to figure out his life. Okay, so I got this and this and this going on. I got this going on. Okay, I did that. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix that. But I got also this. Oh, this is a terrible problem. This is awful. I got this, and this one. This one. Oh my God, I got that. It's terrible. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And that's your life, okay? I've got all these messes. Everything is awful. I'm losing hope. It's terrible. I don't have a chance. I don't know what's going to happen. And yet, you've got the will to live here. And the gates of opportunity are still here. So what are we going to do? Well, Sarah, watch this. That's what we're going to do with it. And you start from scratch. You start from scratch, and you can start to make plans right now over the next 2 weeks, because you're going to get into the period of the, let's see, when is it now? When is the full moon, the next new moon? Okay, it's going to be the Libra new moon on the 6th. Okay, so Sarah, the way I see this is that this is a message for you to start planning over the next 2 weeks. When you get to the Libra new moon, okay, 2 weeks from now, okay, here we are today, 19th of September. In 2 weeks from now, it's going to be October the 6th. The 6th of October. And that is going to be a Libra new moon. Okay, the sun is going to be here and the moon is going to be here. 2 weeks from now, you have to start planning so that in 2 weeks from now, you can activate this Ace of Pentacles. Like, start making plans for a new life, restructuring yourself, okay? This is the perfect time to do it. We're heading into Mercury retrograde, like I said earlier. It's a tremendous time to plan. You've got all these retrogrades, which it might feel like it's working against you. And we've got Mercury retrograde coming up here in about a week, okay? The beauty about all these retrogrades is that it's a chance to restructure, redefine everything, reconfigure, rebuild, repurpose. And so when we look here at October the 6th, that's the Libra new moon. Look at that. Look what's happening here. 1, 2, 3, 4 planets are starting to go direct. And then you'll have the Libra full moon. Okay? This is really about timing. Okay, Sarah? Because the full moon is going to be on the 20th. So I'd like you to mark your calendar. Okay? Sarah, mark your calendar for 6th October. And that equals Libra new moon. New starts, new beginnings from scratch. Here. In practical terms, what are you going to do with your life? You've got 2 weeks to get ready. And then, once you plant your seeds of intention on the Libra new moon, you can say prayers to your angels, okay? Plant good seeds, and then when it comes to the full moon, 20th October, full moon. So the moon will be in Aries. Okay? Sun will be in Libra. Then you will see the culmination of your work. So we're talking about 4 weeks. Today, right now, tonight is the full moon. This is the Pisces moon with the Virgo sun. In 4 weeks from now, it's going to be the Libra sun with the Aries moon. And you can start your action plan here on the new moon. All right? I hope that makes sense. Seriously, Sarah, I would get a calendar and mark those dates. And over the next 2 weeks, the situation is that this is a great time for you to start planning. All those retrogrades, planning. And then later on in the year, make the big decisions. What's the challenges here? Okay, dear Sarah, this is the Empress. This is a super hyper powerful female energy of creativity, fertility, abundance, with no apologies. Energy of Venus is very, very strong. So for this card to be in such a sad situation, that's terrible. So this is telling me that even though you do have a very powerful will to live and you understand all this, it's like deep inside you are suffering extreme self-doubt when it comes to your womanhood, your divine femininity, your beauty, your core being as a woman, and your right to be the most full expression of womanhood that is possible on earth. It looks like you are suffering extreme doubt, and this might have been put upon you through culture, okay? I don't want to get too deep into that because it'll make me sound like I'm some kind of bigot. But anyway, there are a lot of people on earth who are terrified of girl power. They're terrified of the power of women, and they will do anything to suppress the power of women. And that would include you, Sarah. You're a female. So, this might not be too personal energy, but it might be residual energy because of your world, your life, your environment. Necessary, just put something awesome there. Look at that. Here's another way to look at it. This is the card challenge, but necessary is adding a layer of understanding. Rule your empire, Sarah. I know it's terrifying to take your own power, and own your own power, because there are a lot of societies and people and cultures across Earth who have done everything they can for centuries, for thousands of years, to try and suppress the power of the woman. That is not acceptable for you, Sarah. You're here in this lifetime to be your most awesome, beautiful, wonderful self, okay? It's going to happen, but it takes work, it takes planning, it takes very, very deliberate consciousness. It takes a lot of energy, passion, and the desire, the will to live, energy management, well managed, okay? How are we going to deal with this? Okay, so with the Seven of Cups, my first feeling is to ask for messages to come to you through dreams. You can literally program yourself to go to sleep at night and tap into this. Okay, this, to me, this Seven of Cups relates very, very strongly with this full moon. Like right now, starting tonight, well, starting tomorrow, the way to handle your situation is to take full advantage of this full moon axis here. Sun in Virgo, Moon in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. This is a very strong energy, and you can tap into it. The way to tap into it is to say little prayers to yourself. Like, dear heaven, dear angels, dear guardian angels, dear spirit guides, please guide me, please protect me through dreams, through clairvoyance, through clairsentience, through clairaudience, through clairknowance, through intuition. Give me a sign. Give me some signals to get me on path and keep me on path and keep me hopeful. Thank you very much. Okay? This is the power of prayer, okay? I hope that helps you, Sarah. You're going to be just fine. We'll check in every few weeks, every few months. Don't worry, Sarah. You're going to be fine, okay? Thank you, Sarah. Gregory, you're up. All right. I think that's our last reading for the evening. Thank you. I'm going to shuffle up cards again. So give me a second, Gregory. I hope you're still here. And we'll do this, all right? All right. All right. I see you there. I see your name on the screen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Sarah, if you're still watching, I felt a very strong connection with you in doing that reading, and we will follow up, okay? Don't you worry, you're going to be fine, okay? All right, Mr. Ross. Good evening, sir. Thank you again. Now, if there's any subject matter, obviously let me know. If you want to go blind, that's fine too. Like, sometimes, not everybody does it. A lot of people seem to like it when I do the blind readings. But otherwise, it's like, hey, Tarot Illumination, what messages do you have for me tonight regarding the subject of ... And that just needs to be one word, whatever it is. But anyway, okay, all right, okay, Gregory Ross, okay. So, wow, I'm going to have another sip. Thank you, sir. Hey, I see you. Hold on a second. Thank you, Gregory. I would love to do that. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's very trusting. For myself, I just wanted to add something, folks, whoever's watching still, if anyone's still here. This full moon, it's just another full moon, but things are constantly changing all the time. Everything is in constant motion. We feel it as time going forward. But when you get up into the great beyond, the concept of time becomes a little bit more questionable. Okay? I see your notes there, Gregory, don't worry. And one of the things that I'm learning is that it's one thing for myself to sit here and say things in a screen and camera and help people with readings and fine and so on like that. And then I find myself, wow, I have to live by my own words. And I'm getting better and better at those things because, I don't know, I'm sure all of us have experienced, especially when we're kids, when an adult or a parent or a teacher or some kind of senior employer, supervisor kind of character basically reprimands you or undermines you or humiliates you or does whatever they can to get you to do what they want you to do, but they're not good at that. They're not good leaders and stuff. It can feel really, really painful. A really good leader would understand the stresses and the pain and suffering of the people who are being led. A lot of people prefer to be led because they don't want to have to deal with the decisions or responsibilities that a leader deals with. And a leader needs to know that. A leader can't just sit there with a club and a baseball bat and a fist and say, do this, do that. That's not leadership. That's just thuggery. A real leader would step back and very compassionately understand face to face with the person who is being led or who would like to be led, that there is heart and soul at the core of all of this. And the point I was trying to make is that the more I keep going with this channel, I mean, it's to me, it's felt like it's almost pointless for the last 2.5 years, but I kept going because I feel like I have to keep going, and I do that. And to be honest, a lot of it is for my own growth, because I feel like I learned so much by doing this channel, even though it's like 10 people or whatever it is, 5 people who come to the shows anymore. But I do feel the love, I do feel the gratitude, and it shows up in my wallet. I get a few bucks here and there every week, every month, and it really, really helps. I'm not kidding. It's a big part of my life. So I want to say thank you. I'm doing my best, and I learn every day. I'm discovering every day, like, oh wow, it's important to learn what not to do. Anyway, I just wanted to get that point across before we go to do Gregory's reading. Because like when I work with clients, I'm there to help the client, but I also learn a tremendous amount myself. And I try to like integrate that into my being so that I can become richer, stronger, and more capable, more able to share what I can with others, so that they can grow. It's like you plant seeds, planting seeds of love, and you generate a positive feedback loop, and then it's like having a little garden. You tend it, you take care of it, you weed it, you grow it, you water it, you nurture it, and so on for optimal outcome. Anyway, thank you for listening. Yeah, we'll do the reading. Finances ordered today. No worries. Who knows? Maybe the reading will go somewhere else. But finances, sure, why not? Been feeling lonely after all this time. Well, you don't have to reveal any personal details, Gregory, because this is a public show. But it's very interesting how, I don't know if any of you have had that experience, but when you're very close to someone, you love someone dearly, you share the same bed, you share the same home, the same nest, the same everything. And sometimes you lay down, you go to sleep if you're together, if you actually share a bed, and then you kind of wake up, or you start thinking in the middle of the night, like, what the hell is going on here? Who am I? Really? Who is this person next to me? Really? What the heck is going on here? And it can feel terrifying. It's amazing how we can feel incredibly lonely even in the depths of what appears to be an intimate relationship. So Gregory, I understand you. Okay? Relationship or no relationship, doesn't matter. Let's have a look. One thing I have learned, it's incredibly valuable to have at least a couple of people in your life that you can trust, where you can be who you are, you can trust their reflections back to you, and they can trust your reflections back to them. That's one of the most valuable gifts you can offer to someone, or that someone can offer you. I'm very lucky because I have that in my life. I have multiple people in my life that I trust, and I care for them very deeply. They are not what I would call conventional relationships, but still, the frequency of love is there at the core. Now the cards were already shuffled because we had a little break, but I'm going to the last second so we have a pristine deck. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the influence of sacred geometry. Oh. Yep. It's interesting, you know, Gregory, it's been a very long time since this card came up in any of my readings, anywhere, anytime with anybody. What that tells me is that this channel and the people who frequent the channel have been finding ways to live in their lives and live in their world where this has not been too much of an issue. Now, I also know, Gregory, that because we've been working together previously, that you had a really good a win lately in your life. And yet, we're looking at this. Now, remember, this is not a cups card. This is actually a swords card. But what happens is with the Three of Swords, like we feel it in our head, the energy of betrayal, loss, suffering, being unloved. Almost not to the point where it's just absent, but where it is either systematically or willfully or deliberately been removed from your life by someone else. In other words, this is the energy of having been damaged. It's like, let's get real, people, here. Okay, let's get real. I'm looking at this section here, okay? The hidden enemy. The 12th house on the planetary scale, planet Earth. Neptune is in Pisces, about, what is it, 18 or something degrees, 20 degrees or something like that, 24, and the moon is coming up there. We're heading to the full moon. It's probably almost exact right now where the moon is conjoined Neptune and it's opposing Sun in Virgo. My feeling is that this particular full moon is shining a light on your life, in your world, in such a way. Okay, so you said like finances are an issue, but the previous line on the chat said you're feeling lonely after all this time. So let's be honest. You're feeling lonely after all this time. And the loneliness could probably come from like an expectation of being loved after having been so loving. Because from what I know of you, Gregory, we've worked together quite a few times. You're a very loving, kind, generous, caring person. And you want what's best for the other people. And you want justice. You want truth, honesty, and the law to be upheld. And then to have to end up like this, it doesn't seem fair. It seems like betrayal, deception, lies, suffering. And you don't deserve this. You didn't ask for this. You didn't plant any seeds to deserve this. If you did, if you did plant seeds to deserve this coming back at you, according to the laws of attraction, then this could be a very painful, uncomfortable reading. Okay, because it would mean having to admit that, wow, according to the laws of nature, according to the laws of attraction, the laws of the universe, be loving, be loved. If you were unloving towards another, perhaps in another lifetime or in your childhood or something like that, and now you are receiving the reciprocal in reverse, it's very, very, very painful. Okay, I'm not pointing fingers, Gregory, okay? Please understand, there's no judgment here. I'm just talking about energy. With the Three of Swords here, this would be like, to me it feels like this full moon, sorry, everything fell out. This full moon might have brought about a very awkward, very sensitive, uncomfortable subject of, like you said, feeling lonely. Nobody likes to admit that they're feeling lonely because it's like almost like an admission of failure in life. And yet, to have the courage to admit that you're feeling lonely after all this time is a very loving act. It's a very self-loving act. So that means we have a chance to do something about this. All right, so let's just say that this card is here for a reason. It's time to acknowledge and accept this. It's very easy. Human beings will do almost anything to avoid the feelings that come with this card. The feeling of having been betrayed, lost, undermined, screwed over, hurt, damaged in love, even though you were loving. It's awful. Okay, understood. So what's the situation itself? Okay, when I see the Tower here, to me it feels like, well, this is inevitable. This was inevitable. And I just think of it as a ticking clock. This is just another chapter in life, a moment in life where this full moon is indicating, well, pretend I'm some kind of like, you know, one of those like comedian, like space guru angels in the clouds, like John Travolta in the movie Michael. Like, I'm sitting out, I'm just an angel, like, you know, I'm just here to convey messages, Gregory. Like, it's really, really awkward. Like, sorry, man. Like, you know, give me a drink. Oh, this is going to be difficult. Pretend I'm an angel, okay, Gregory? Like, So, Gregory, my message is that we're at this little awkward moment in your life where you've got this Three of Swords that's come up, and now you're looking at this situation. It's the Tower card. Let's just admit it. Loneliness is real. It's there. And there's a reason why loneliness happens. Because you deserve to be loved. You're a very loving person by nature. But we get to these points of evolution where, have you reached that point where you can handle, what's that movie with Tom Cruise? Handle the truth. Like it's time to be honest with yourself. You've dedicated so much time and energy to justice, to being the lawman, to helping others, to the point where it's depletion. You might have neglected yourself. You might have neglected the fact that, you know, you have to dedicate a certain amount of time and energy to love thyself. Okay? Also, it happens a lot with people on this channel. They are compassion junkies by nature. They can't help themselves being loving. But sometimes it's hard for them to receive love because it's so satisfying to give it out. It's so satisfying to be loving. But sometimes because of our own shame, guilt, our own lack of evolution, it's harder for us to receive love in terms of being loved. And so you get this like imbalance. And I think that's what this situation here is. We're dealing with a very kind of awkward, very delicate moment where we have to point a finger at the imbalance. Okay? We could call it a Tower moment. To me, it looks like just an admission, like, well, let's admit it. This is how things are. I mean, this is a public reading, Gregory. I really wasn't, I have no idea what was going to show up. But what this is telling me is that you are in a public forum right now where this is actually the best place for the revelation of this energy, where it's okay to just put it out there. Man, I'm freaking lonely. I'm lonely after all this time. You're not lonely in general because, like, you know, you've got the good rapport with your clients. We have a good rapport. We connect, and so on and so on. But deep at the heart and the soul and the core of it, it's like you've been loving and you deserve to be loved. And now you're starting to realize, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Do you see how I'm just focusing on the 12th house here? the energy of universal love, connection with the divine, and that's all wonderful. Of course, like with all energies, there's the flip side, and the flip side is pain, the suffering, the loss, all of that. And I think what's happening is the full moon is kind of very delicately, but very simply and clearly identifying what needed to be identified. And we're doing it here in the context of a little live mini reading in public. People do not like to admit that they're lonely. It's a horrible, horrible thing to acknowledge or say or admit or even deal with. But it's happening here tonight on the screen. You put it on the screen. What's the challenges here? Okay, with the Temperance card, it's very much about healing. And it feels to me like there's a really severe imbalance going on where, because you're naturally programmed to like stand up for the underdog, to represent those who are grievously harmed, to go head to head with the bosses, the leaders, the pinnacle of society, and to call them out and to win and to prevail on behalf of others so that other people can have a chance to know what it's like to love and be loved. But in the process, it's almost like you've taken it so far that what about yourself? This is the energy of healing. So if you look at healing in the broader context, healing others, heal thyself. And you start to go to the energy of Chiron. And one of the themes about Chiron, I don't know if you've heard of this. I mean, I'm sharing what I know about the Chiron energy. It's like healer, heal thyself. Okay? I'm very lucky, Gregory. I was incredibly fortunate to be sponsored to go into some very deep, heavy-duty quantum energy healing with some super hyper-advanced yogis and energy healers, remote healers, way beyond, the typical stuff to do with, chiropractic or, acupuncture or things like that. Even beyond things like hypnosis. I'm talking about real super high-powered energy healing. Let me just show you. Stay there. I, Terra Lumination, am the beneficiary of this kind of healing energy. I might have shown this book to people before, but this stuff is real, people. Our hands are holy. The power in your hands is sacred. Okay? So you have to understand, what are you going to do with that? It's energy. I call it energy management. What are you going to do with the energy that flows through you? I am a recipient of this energy. I'm also able to offer this energy. I don't focus on it too much because, I would probably have to have an office or a clinic somewhere. But anyway, what I'm sensing here, Gregory, is that it's time to admit that you are operating at these kinds of frequencies where you could look at your life work, your work as a person of justice, a person of law, and understand that what you actually do is provide healing to others and others who deserve that healing. But it's also important to realize that you deserve healing too. And I think there's an imbalance here because I don't know. It's really hard for me to. Gregory, have you ever heard of the movie called The Cider House Rules with Michael Caine? It's a really old movie. It's about this very, very dedicated humanitarian doctor, very loving being, and he takes care of these women in need. And he's really, really good at it. I've only seen it once, and it was long, long ago. But to me, it feels like this applies to you, where the doctor, played by Michael Caine, ends up depleted because he never gave himself the chance to receive the love that he deserved. It was just a constant faucet, hose of love energy focused out there. Be loving, be loving, be loving. He was so satisfied and so fulfilled from being loving, but he didn't give himself the chance to receive love in return. Okay? So I think the message that I'm trying to convey is that it's time to open the lens, broaden the perspective, and allow yourself to be loved by, it's like giving yourself permission. It might end up it means I'm going to have to be very goofy at a bar. Or I might have to say things to someone or at some place that come from the heart just to balance things out. The temperance energy is very, very much about healing. To me, it feels like the challenge is that in your own way, in your own field, your own talents and gifts, you are a healer. You brought healing to all those people who needed healing. And now it's time for you, but you don't have a lot of experience or faith that you are worthy of healing, you are worthy of being healed, that you are worthy of being a recipient. There might be all sorts of little shards and shrapnel from energy gone wrong, where you're just not prepped up or, let's say, seasoned or marinated enough to be able to receive the love in such a way that these kinds of situations where the shock of loneliness or the shock of feeling lonely is so disturbing and upsetting. And instead, let's look at how we're going to fix this. Okay, so with the Queen of Pentacles here, it feels to me the way to fix situations is to let's just admit it, okay? Well, we've already admitted, you've basically admitted on screen, on camera, to whoever's watching this, that you're lonely. And, there's other issues, finances, whatever. You've had a lot of complex things. We've worked together in the past several times. And so those things are very demanding, and they require a lot of energy and commitment and love and faith and courage to do what you do, to be who you are. But eventually, the warrior, the lawman, the gladiator needs loving too. So with the Queen of Pentacles here, to me it feels like it's time to give yourself a break. Gently, just ever so gently, back away from the front lines of, how am I going to describe this? Like the front lines of day-to-day life where, Like you might be consumed with puzzling. How am I going to fix that? How am I going to fix that? How am I going to sort this bank account, that bank account, this issue, that issue, all those financial issues? And what is the outcome going to be? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Who's going to love me? How can I love anybody if my finances aren't sorted out, for example? So with the Queen of Pentacles here, to me there's several layers. Number one, it's important to recognize that you are already wealthy in your own way. It takes a moment to step back and to look at your life and your world and acknowledge that in some ways you are very wealthy already. For example, there are plenty of people in China or Burma or Africa who are living off $1 a day if they're lucky. And they don't have access to phones or YouTube or bank accounts or debit cards or credit cards. They don't have clean water. They don't have anything. So on the global scale of the collective, you're doing really great. But, you know, if you're kind of stuck in the moment where you have not given yourself the chance to look from the global perspective, you could feel really, really bad. So on a global scale, you, Gregory, you're over here. You've got, you know, all this world to play with. There's Santa Fe. Everybody knows by now that Gregory has a base in Santa Fe. And in your own way, you have wealth, you have abundance already. And what I think is really important right now with the Queen of Pentacles, the way to handle your situation is, yes, definitely look at it from the finances perspective. Look at your life from the perspective of finances, and then figure out, how are we going to consolidate this? How are you going to optimize your finances, bring balance to your finances, and enjoy the wealth that you do have? Because you do have wealth, you do have abundance, but like the previous reading regarding money with Karen, it feels so good when your finances are sorted out. It gives you a sense of warmth, stability, safety, and security. And one of the things about America and being American is that we have so much already. And then when we don't have that, we start to feel very poor. I'll just share with everybody here. It's not a good thing or a bad thing, but by American standards and the measurements of the federal, state, and local government, Lumination is operating way below poverty line. So, I feel rich. It's just a question of perspective. So we can work on this another time, Gregory, but I think with the Queen of Pentacles, it's an indication that you can rest assured that you are okay and that you will be okay. And yes, maybe there is a lot of pain here, and maybe the message is that it is time for you to receive some love and sweetness and healing yourself. But again, the laws of attraction, they need to be activated and brought into action. So we're looking at, how are we going to do this? How are we going to optimize your wealth? How are we going to optimize your gifts, your talents, and resources so that you can actually enjoy your life without having to worry so much about money? Doesn't mean you're going to have like multi-millions here or there, but there would be equilibrium, there would be harmony, there would be balance, okay? But this is another story. We'll deal with this another time, okay, Gregory? No worries. All right? So there's your reading, Gregory. I hope that helped some way or other. I really enjoy doing these readings for people. That's the last one we're going to do tonight. It looks like we only did 3, but there you go. No problem. We all have lives to live. It's very late at night. It's very early in the morning or afternoon for Karen or wherever. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jeffrey, Heather, Robin. I don't know if there's anybody still out there. Yeah, maybe so. Okay. Love Tribers here. Necessary Truth. Hello, Necessary. And there are some, there's Ivona, there's Justin. Yeah, Justin, if you're still here, get in touch. Go to the website, tarotlumination.com. Go to the Connect page. We'll sort it out. Get you your reading. Abby, I have to thank you so much because you were here right at the very beginning, and I was going to give up, but you gave me so much light and courage to keep going. Thank you. I'm still here. It's a miracle, frankly. Justin, yeah. And Happy Go Lucky. And well, there was some other. There's Heather. Yeah. Good night, Heather. Good night, All Sun. I'm thinking Tuesday or Wednesday. All right. Noelle, I never heard from you. Sarah, you'll get your reading. Okay. And Delicia, I hope you're okay. Maybe we'll do a reading sometime. And Casey, thank you for showing up. All right, take care, everybody. It's been wonderful. Let's see what I got. What can I play with? I'm just gonna wrap it out really comfortably. And you can say goodnight to each other in the chats, however you want to do that. Give me a second here. Try